wanting the unearned is a classic case of envy? What if I told you people shouldn't have to earn the ability to live? I want $1 million. I told you you're not in that tax bracket. I'm glad that you've given us that information because you weren't excited about giving it to us earlier. I know your fucking ass is not doing too well financially. I know you are suffering. But luckily for you, whether you like it or not, if my political system gets implemented, I'm going to force your stupid fucking ass to get healthcare. I'm going to force you to be able to go to school without having to pay through the nose for it. I'm going to force you to be able to buy the literal necessary things you need to live. I'm going to force you to have those if I win. So listen, it is what it is. I'm fighting for you too, whether you like it or not. Are you a man? Who's asking? Are you with the government? What am I talking about? There was one emote I was thinking of that for some reason. Oh, it was Donk Walk. Do I have that on here? Wait, do I literally? I don't have Donk Walk. Hello? What year is it? A man is one penis? Do I have news for you, man? There are men out there who don't have penises. Isn't that crazy? Donk Walk is a very good emote. Yeah, I make my own emotes, so I'm just kind of a Chad, you know? So this is literally Putin Walk, but better, because it's not Putin, right? It's essentially. What are your takes on the Ukraine and Russia war? Russia aggressed on Ukraine and is doing imperialism by trying to take the country. They shit the bed and failed. Russia is cringe. The government of Russia. There are I'm sure some of the people in Russia don't support the war, and they have my support as well. Russia is winning. You're coping, brother. It was literally supposed to be a 3-day special military operation. That's what Russia said. And now they've been in it for certainly more than 3 days. So that is a unadulterated failure. They took the city. There's a difference between taking cities and holding cities. It's been a constant back and forth. To win, Russia's goal was to literally take all of Ukraine. They failed at doing that. And doesn't look like they're going to be able to do that. So the most they can do is take individual pieces around the border of Russia. And it seems like they're having difficulty even doing that. So how many of these frames are unique? All of them? I guess the most powerful military on Earth? What do you mean most powerful military on Earth? Ukraine's military is not that powerful. We're experiencing mental illness in the chat room right now. So for whatever reason, Republicans feel the need to support Russia. The majority of the reason why is because Russia, for one, aligns with them on social issues, i.e. they are opposed to so-called degeneracy, i.e. they have very strict anti-LGBTQ laws, very strict laws when it comes to controlling women and all this kind of stuff. It's a far-right authoritarian government. Also, conservatives are jealous of Putin in Russia, Putin's government in Russia, because they want authoritarian control in this country, and they're jealous that Putin has been able to make authoritarian control of Russia happen. That's literally it. Also, they get to cosplay as populists and pretend like they care about the average everyday American by talking about how, oh, well, should we really be giving money to Ukraine when we can't even give money to our own homeless veterans in this country? And then they'll go on to cut fucking funding to the Veterans Affairs Association. And will continue to price gouge ordinary Americans in order to make Biden look bad. Like, they don't give a fuck about the American people. They never have. Nothing they've ever done has ever shown that they give a fuck about the American people. It's just a way for them to cosplay as populists. We spend billions on Ukraine, but we can't even secure our own border? Yeah, and your mother fucking sucks my dick 12 times a day, and yet she still has time to spend time with you, so surely we can do both at once. What am I looking for? Not an argument, please. No insults. Kill your desire to be in this chat room. I've already given you arguments, and you've given me nothing. Where's the mod? Wait, why would we ban this person? They're clearly trolling or are mentally incontinent. They haven't broken any rules yet. I'm having fun. Yo, some of you fucking lefties are too sensitive, man. Eventually, this motherfucker will start saying slurs, and at that point, they'll probably force my hand, but... The irony, I'm the mentally ill one here. You're the one who's buying literal propaganda of a country you probably don't live in. I don't know what else you call that, brother. I watch zero Russian media, only Fox News, so you're mentally ill. Congratulations. I appreciate you spelling it out for us. You made that a lot easier than it had to be. What is the hotkey for this? Shift Control E. You're saying half of America is mentally ill? Yes. I'm saying more than half. It's just that there are certain kinds of mental illness out there that are worse than others. Like, I've got ADHD, which is a mental illness. But I would say being antisocial to the point where you format your politics around being antisocial is a worse kind of mental illness. There's levels to this shit, man. Also, I support a variety of policies that would actually benefit people with mental illness and get them treatment should they want it, and they should hopefully want it. Name 10 policies. Your mother sucking my dick. Your father sucking my dick. Sorry. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. I just want a small government and my tax money not going to stuff I don't agree with. Well, good luck with that, brother. Because you're never going to get it. The party that you ostensibly support literally only wants to cut taxes on the wealthy and deregulate multinational corporations so that they can pay their workers less and force them to work in worse conditions so that they can make more money off the backs of their labor. That's literally it. That's the entire Republican Party project, and if you don't understand that, you are being propagandized too. The Democratic Party ain't much better, but it's a little bit better than the Republicans. Such is life. Welcome to being in America. I want small government too? No, I want a mixed government that does a variety of things that actually benefits the American people. Like a single-payer healthcare system, which would allow for, by taxing the wealthiest people in this country significantly more than we already do, while letting them remain pretty wealthy, we would be able to utilize those tax revenues to subsidize healthcare to literally everybody in this country. We currently pay more money for our fucking healthcare system than every other comparable OECD nation, and we have worse outcomes for doing so. Every other comparable OECD nation has been able to figure out some form of a healthcare system that is better than ours, and they utilize taxing the wealthy to a greater extent than we do in order to fund it. 2, I would also like to do a similar thing and utilize those tax revenues to subsidize higher education tuition, so that people can go into college and get a higher education and get a good paying job to be a productive member of society. Currently, you can't do this because you have to pay through the nose for tuition for even fucking community college. And you end up just not going into that shit and bettering society because you don't have the money to spend to do it and you don't want to go into debt to do it. Also, student loan debt is one of the few debts in this country you can't actually, default on. Even if you die, it gets passed down to your loved ones. That's 2. That's pretty big government. I respect you don't outright ban me for having a different opinion, but I don't appreciate the insults. I will ban you for being a fucking pussy. Suck my cock, dude. If you're that sensitive, go somewhere else. You act fucking mentally redacted in my chat room, I'm going to treat you as such. It's not really my fault. You've brought this upon yourself. The government should not give us loans to go to school as well. I hope you enjoy getting ass-fucked by the government and corporations. Clearly you do. Because why the fuck would you not want the government to help you be able to get a higher education? Why are you so fucking cucked, man? Grow a spine. Oh yeah, man. I don't want the government to be able to assist me in going and getting a higher education to be a more productive member of society and be able to put food on the table, doing work that I actually give a fuck about. I just want to be a cog in a machine working for Uber and Lyft, 3 jobs just to pay my bills like the average freedom-loving American. Grow a fucking backbone, dude. What the fuck is the point of having a government and living in a nation state if you're not gonna have that government do shit that you want them to do? Like, at that point, we should just not have nation states, but that's not gonna happen, so we gotta play with the cards we're dealt, man. You live in a country, whether you like it or not, because we're not abolishing borders anytime soon, as much as I would enjoy doing so. So that government might as well do some shit for the people that live in it. Simple as. I would love to cut the military budget while still allowing us to have a pretty substantial defensive system, because that is a necessary thing to have in a global geopolitical realm where other countries are out there that might seek to aggress on us or whatever, which do exist. We would still have a pretty good military, but we could certainly cut a variety of spending from the defense budget and reallocate it to things that actually help Americans. I don't think the government should be responsible for our lives. That is on us. But the government already impedes on your life whether you like it or not. By living in a government, you have rules and laws that you have to follow or else you go to jail. What are you talking about? In order to live in the United States of America, you have to follow the laws of this country. Like, the government already impedes on your life. So we might as well get something good out of it rather than get nothing but that impeding on your life. Yeah, man, I don't think the government should do anything with our lives. They should just protect us from outside threats. Which is why I don't think we should allocate funds that would be generated off of taxing the wealthiest people in this country, a tax bracket that you will probably never reach in your life, in order to make sure that I don't go bankrupt because of medical debt because I got sick one day. Or that renders me homeless because I can't afford to pay for my fucking rent. What the fuck? You are a cuckold. You enjoy seeing your loved ones get fucked by somebody that isn't you. The only thing is you're not engaging with that kink in a responsible and positive capacity. You're letting it happen to you and you don't want it. Why? One day you will muster up the courage to actually be able to convince a person that you are attracted to start dating you. And at that point, if that person starts cheating on you without your consent, you're just gonna let it happen. And you're not gonna know why. Here I am, trying to help you understand that. It's totally cool if you like the idea of being in a relationship with a person. I don't understand it, but like, if you're interested in being in an engagement with somebody where they get to have sex with other people in front of you, and you don't get to participate, you can only watch like Sneeko, more power to you. Like I said, I don't get it. But like, you shouldn't let your government do that as well. What the fuck is wrong with you? The FDA is cringy. I love having lead in my food, dude. I love it when children get brain disease like you obviously did by eating lead paint chips off the fucking wall. And by contaminants getting into their food. Like, literally the only reason you're in my chat talking to me about this shit is because the FDA did not go far enough. Because it's been routinely defunded by the fucking party that you support, the Republican Party. Or by the party that your ideals more closely align with. Like, you're playing yourself, brother. Yeah, man, I just think the government shouldn't be allowed to, you know, regulate a variety of things that go into our food and water and drugs. And, you know, maybe it's possible that the fact that the FDA has been regularly defunded and attempted to be destroyed from within by Republican control of government, you know, maybe that's caused me to have some of the only mental pathways opened up by said poisoning that allows me to even conceive of these politics being something worthwhile. You know, maybe, you would seek help, man. The FDA failed at its job. Yes, it's been routinely defunded by the Republican Party. The Republican Party has also had a habit of putting people whose literal job it is to head these kinds of organizations in order to destroy them from within. Like the EPA. Look at the George Bush era or the Trump era of presidential administrations. Or the fucking USPS. There is literally a long and studied history of Republican governments putting people in positions of power in these various agencies whose literal entire point of existence, those people who were appointed to those positions, was to destroy said industry from within. You can't, like, support the party doing that and then claim that it's not their fault, that these government agencies aren't working the way they're supposed to. Doesn't make any sense. Once again, you are watching your wife getting bent over by fucking Republican legislators, getting absolutely railed against your will, and you're just letting it happen. That's just not consensual, man. You gotta figure that out. Governments have shown us they are inefficient and corrupt. Yeah, both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. However, the Republican Party is substantially worse. But they're apparently the party that's trying to make small government happen. Really makes you think. So you're just cucking a bit less than me in your own worldview? No, I support a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party by further left people that would actually fight for the policies I support, rather than you who is willing to completely bend over for government and allow them to exploit you for your labor and push you into financial destitution. Now, of course, we have to deal with the two-party system because we live in a first-past-the-post voting system. Because of that system, mathematically, third parties are not viable, so spending any time, labor, or money on those parties is a useless effort. So, the only thing we can do until we can move to a proportional voting system like ranked choice voting at the local, then state, then hopefully federal level, is to try to make the only party that is closer to my ideology, that being the Democrats, unfortunately, move that party closer to our values. And the only thing you could do to do that is primarying the Democrats that are there that are not doing enough, and supporting the Democrats that are there that are at least doing a little bit, and making sure Republicans don't have power. And in that time, you also have to be trying to get proportional voting systems in a variety of elections, local, state, federal. The government's corrupt. We should make it so that it's more corrupt. Well, it's more like, well, for a lot of people it is that, but for a lot of other ones, it's like the government's corrupt. We should allow them to make it more corrupt. You know, we should just fold our hands and look away while we allow the government to become more corrupt. Meanwhile, I'm over here looking like this fucking guy that I'm making my own version of right now. Being like, no, actually, we should force our government to work for us. Because we're not getting rid of it anytime soon. But it's just simply the case that I'm not a fucking pussy. But remember, this whole conversation started when this person was talking about how they thought that Russia was actually winning the war against Ukraine, and seemingly was defending Russia in that instance. So it's like, that tells you really all you need to know about where this person's mind state is at. Communism failed? Communism where? Name a communist country. I'm not even a communist, but I'm willing to talk about this. You can't name... Well, name me a historical communist country. You can't name them. I asked you to name them. Name a historical communist country. The USSR depends on what time and place you're talking about when it comes to the USSR. When the USSR fell, it was not communist. It was, at best, state capitalist. A communist country would be a moneyless, classless, stateless society, and that's very difficult to achieve in a global world that has a variety of countries that are not moneyless, classless, and stateless. Necessarily, those other countries are going to be able to have a geopolitical upper hand against you, and it kind of requires a more globally cohesive attempt in order to work. So, like, you can get some kind of a socialist country, sure, where workers own the means of production, and there's a very democratized system at a variety of levels, and a variety of unnecessary hierarchies are flattened. You could even get a social democratic system, which is still capitalist, like Sweden, Norway, Finland, whatever. But that's obviously still capitalist, but it has a variety of regulations on it that at least controls for some of the excesses, but really isn't that great. Certainly better than what we have in the United States, though. Because at least those social democratic countries still allow for people to, you know, get sick and not force them into financial destitution because of that unfortunate circumstance. Sounds like a whole lot of cope. No, it sounds like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm not even a communist and I understand this shit better than you do. There's excuses for why commies fail. I'm sorry your brain is too small to actually engage with anything that I've actually said on this topic. And the only thing you can resort to is, oh my god, communism is... it's always failed everywhere. That's not the conversation I'm having, pussy. Actually address what I'm saying. We could fix the VA by privatizing it. There is literally no reason to do this, but we can continue to sidestep any conversation that doesn't go your way. Because your mental state is not stable enough to be able to actually understand that you're fucking getting ruined in this conversation. And that you don't actually know anything about what you claim to be talking about. It's like, we should be playing the fucking Morrowind theme right now. With how much of an NPC this guy is. Just hitting the dialogue tree. I'm mashing A right now, but this motherfucker will not stop talking. I disagree with you, but I would not say you're mentally ill or challenged. Well, that's the difference between you and me, because I disagree with you, have provided better arguments than you have against me, and I will also call you mentally ill, so... sucks to suck, man. You just don't understand my world. No, I understand your worldview. I also very well understand the faults within your worldview. And I understand your worldview so much that I know I want nothing to do with it. and I do not want to see my fellow human beings suffer underneath it. It doesn't take much to understand your worldview, brother. Your political ideology has the depth of like a kiddie pool, which frankly, I don't know if you should be around that. In my world, you are free and not taxed to death. Who is getting taxed to death, brother? How much money do you make a year? Watch out, guys. The economy understander has logged on. Motherfucker's probably making, like, at best $45,000 a year and is worrying about being taxed at a tax bracket that you need to be $250,000 a year for. I mean, once you start actually getting money, I mean, and not a leech. So how's middle school doing, man? Your teacher's nice to you? Have you made any friends, or you kind of just sit alone at the lunch table in the corner? There's a profit incentive in the VA. What if I told you governments aren't corporations, brother? Are you aware of that? Are you aware that those are two different things? Like, if you think that the government should be run like a corporation, you need to go back to, you know, Economics 101. Actually, probably not, because that's probably where you learned that if you did go to college. Government agencies aren't supposed to be there to make a profit. They're supposed to be there to render the goods and services to the people they're supposed to be rendering the goods and services to. That's kind of why it's a government and not a corporation. How the richest country in the world can't afford healthcare for its citizens? It's because we're just a bad country. We just don't know what we're doing. Just taking L after L, man. Every politician gets richer after they become part of the system that keeps fucking you. I'm for reducing the influence of lobbyists and corporations on our elections. I'm also for publicly funded elections. Next question. Nice. We got frame one. If you hate politicians getting rich, wait till you hear about corporations. I think publicly elected officials should be barred from owning any investments beyond a residence in their district and a residence in D.C., if federal. They should be barred from any and all employment and other such forms of income for the rest of their life. Once they leave office, they can collect the government pension for the rest of their life. Socialized healthcare shit. Many people come from Canada and Europe to do operations here because back home their service is shit and slow. I'd rather have shit and slow service, which it's not shit. It might be slower, but it's not shit. I'd rather have slower service, but still be able to get that care, rather than literally never getting it because I can't afford it. I would rather have that. But you understand that, right? Like, you're presenting me with two options. So for one, like I said, it is a fact that the United States of America pays more for its healthcare system, but gets worse outcomes for its people, right? That is a fact. So now you're propositioning to me two options. One, there's one healthcare system where you don't go into medical bankruptcy if you get sick because you can't afford the medical bills. But you might have to wait a little longer for certain procedures. Not all, but certain procedures. And on the other hand, you have our system, which allows you to fall into financial destitution and or die because you cannot afford to go to a doctor. Which one here am I going to think is better? Come on. I would, however, like to congratulate you on your upcoming graduation from middle school. I think you're probably going to be going into high school soon. So hopefully at that point you have more of an open mind about things. Meanwhile, most people in the U.S. just get sick and die a slow, painful death, all the while being crushed by medical debt. Yeah, the United States of America, people in it die of preventable diseases or have their conditions worsen because of preventable diseases, specifically because they can't afford to go to the doctor to get the shit diagnosed earlier. And also, even if they can go and get it diagnosed, often can't afford the treatment. People who come to the U.S. for care are generally well off. Yeah, no shit. If you're going to be able to travel for medical care, you're already going to be doing pretty well financially. So if you lived in the United States, you'd be able to access better healthcare because we have a paywalled system where people with more money can essentially fast-track themselves into care through the private system. Whereas the people who don't have that kind of money just fucking fall into financial destitution or just continue to be sick and eventually die. But I'm getting bored, man. There's only so many NPC talking points that I can fucking go through before I get bored. So you're gonna have to give me something exciting. NPC, you're the one with the basic bitch takes here? My takes aren't that popular. What the fuck are you talking about? There isn't a party ideologically in the United States of America that represents my views, whereas you're literally parroting Republican Party talking points. Your views are more basic than mine, dumb fuck. Now, I'm trying to make my views as basic as possible, right? I want my views to be as popular as possible, because then we might actually get some movement and get the government and corporations fucking boot off our neck. and put our boot on their necks. But until then, people with cucked mindset like yours are going to stand in opposition to that. However, there has been some movement in the Democratic Party toward a expansion of Medicare to Medicare for all, a single-payer healthcare system, which would be quite poggers. You know, there's some movement toward raising the minimum wage. There's some movement toward union protections and allowing people to democratize their workplaces, or at least form a union to be able to bargain for better wages against the corpos who are currently not paying them well enough, making them work in bad conditions, and not providing benefits to them. So there is some movement in that direction. But the idea that my views are, like, mainstream within our current political system is absurd. Meanwhile, you get literally your entire worldview from Fox News. Like I am an anti-capitalist. The idea that my views are basic is absurd. But I don't care either way. Like, I don't need my views to be this hipster, novel thing. I just want my fucking fellow countrymen to not go into medical bankruptcy and die because they got sick. Or get penalized by wanting to get a higher education. Or get exploited for their labor in the workplace. I want them to be able to democratically make decisions and bargain for better wages and working conditions. Because I'm not a fucking cuckold like you. So, like, if my views became the mainstream, hell yeah. That's kind of the point of having a political ideology and project. By trying to make your views mainstream. Otherwise, why the fuck would I have politics? To LARP? That's kind of what you're doing. I'm not trying to be like you, brother. You're born to shit, forced to wipe. Can I get an amen? Under capitalism, you have infinite choice? The fuck are you talking about, man? We are fat from our food? Yeah, and there are still people who are going hungry in this country. Because the current economic system we live under hasn't figured out a way to logistically get the overproduction of food that we have, the abundance of food that we have, to the people that need it. Because we require people to pay for said food. We produce more food than we need, and we throw it away instead of giving it to people who need it. And the reason why that's happening is because companies want to be able to make a profit, rather than feeding the people in this country. God forbid you have to pay for food? Yeah, no, you shouldn't have to. You should not have to pay for necessary things to live, like food, water, shelter. The government should subsidize it. Because why the fuck else are we going to have a government? Why the hell am I living in a nation state if it's not going to provide the basic essentials for me? And if we have to tax wealthy people even more in order to make that happen, then that's a cost I'm willing to bear. Now, of course, the taxes on everyday people will also have to go up, but we could cut defense spending, for instance, which is overinflated, and reallocate it into a variety of services that would actually help people. Like, we can move around our current tax revenue, our tax base, and not really have to raise taxes as much on the average everyday, working person. Generally speaking, the people that would suffer the most, quote-unquote suffer the most under this new tax system would be the wealthiest people in this country. Which is a tax bracket you're never going to get. You're never going to achieve. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. Especially with your cucked mindset, you will never make it. Notice this person doesn't deny the middle schooler allegations yet. Wanting the unearned is a classic case of envy. What if I told you people shouldn't have to earn the ability to live? I can't deny all the low IQ takes. Yeah, I'm glad you're owning up to the fact that all of your takes are boilerplate fucking NPC talking points from the Republican Party that are necessarily low IQ. I'm glad you own up to it, at least. I want $1 million. I told you you're not in that tax bracket. I'm glad that you've given us that information because you weren't excited about giving it to us earlier. I know your fucking ass is not doing too well financially. I know you are suffering. But luckily for you, whether you like it or not, if my political system gets implemented, I'm going to force your stupid fucking ass to get healthcare. I'm going to force you to be able to go to school without having to pay through the nose for it. I'm going to force you to be able to buy the literal necessary things you need to live. I'm going to force you to have those if I win. So, listen, it is what it is. I'm fighting for you too, whether you like it or not. I'm not cucking to your garbage. It wouldn't be up to you, dumbass. I will resist. Okay, go hungry then. Refuse to get the food that the government would give you. Now, of course, under the ideal system, you'd still be able to use your money to go out and get more luxurious food options if you wanted, but the idea would be that at the very base level, you should be able to get food subsidized by the government and not go hungry, right? We already have programs that are attempting to kind of do this, like food stamps, SNAP, and all this kind of shit. Yeah, I'm gonna go on a hunger strike because I don't want free food from the government because I am a mental cuckold. Whatever, man. I don't like taxes? Yeah, because you don't understand them. You don't like taxes because they've never been used to help your sorry ass. I'm trying to force the government to use them to help your sorry ass. Taxes are only theft if the fucking revenues generated from them aren't allocated to goods and services that actually help people. Taxes, yeah, there you go. I'm literally in your brain right now. Your brain is so small that it fits within one neuron of mine. I know your talking points, man. I know your entire political ideology. Taxes are literally only theft if the revenues generated from them are not allocated to help the people that pay into them. That's it. And because your dumb ass, because of politicians that you support, who have pulled the wool over your eyes for so long, have never allocated those tax revenues to actually fucking help you, yeah, you're gonna think taxes are theft, because you've never experienced a system that actually uses taxes to help you. You're a victim. Brother, you are a victim. And I'm trying to help you. This dude really is the NPC meme? Yeah, no, he's a bootlicker. He's a cuckold. I want a 0% tax rate. What tax bracket are you in, brother? What are you making? $25,000 a year? $45,000 a year? $75,000 a year? At a flat 0% tax rate, motherfuckers making billions of dollars aren't going to pay any tax. They're going to be doing fine. But you're not going to get anything from the government using any tax revenues that otherwise might have existed. And you're going to still be down here in your $45,000 a year. Like, you're still going to be getting fucked. Like, 0% tax rate doesn't help you. Taxes keep us poor. You are fucking stupid. Sorry. I've already gone through this. Like, I've been through this. This entire time that I've been, you know, entertaining myself with your deranged ramblings while making this emote. I've already been through this. Does he not understand that taxing the hyper-wealthy overlords is only a good thing? Yeah, no, we gotta make sure that these mega-wealthy people don't have their bottom line hurt too much or something. I don't know. Like I say, I don't enjoy watching my loved ones get fucked in front of me without my consent, so I can't really understand this person's worldview that well. But, like, I can't empathize with it. I can understand it. I don't agree with it. But I can't empathize with it. I'm a fucking temporarily embarrassed millionaire in my chat room. Depressing. Yeah, actually. Oh, wow. Under my system, you would actually be able to go to the doctor and not have to pay through the nose for it. What a disaster. Actually, you know what? In order to protest this commie Medicare, I'm just gonna get sick but not do anything about it and then suffer. That'll show them. Fucking dumbass. Also, I'm not a communist. Get rid of regulation, healthcare will be cheaper. You're literally, your ideology is a product of not having regulation. The fact that you are this fucking stupid is literally a product of no regulations. You are a victim. This dude is like 14? No, absolutely. Like I say, best of luck on your middle school graduation. It'll be the time of your life. One of the most monumentous things that have happened in your short life. And eventually, you'll get into high school. You'll remain stupid as fuck, but hopefully you understand the world a little bit better. Y'all are cucking to the government? I don't know how you don't understand this, man. I am literally trying to force the government to work for me and my countrymen. I am literally trying to control it, not let it control me. Are you stupid? The answer is yes. Anyway, I'm bored now. Like, we're going in circles now. You will never control the government? Yeah, and you'll likely never have love in your life. It is what it is, man. Next time I meet with your mother, I'll tell her not to give you those extra tendies. Because you do not deserve them. You've been a bad boy. Not the dino nuggies? Well, listen. Sometimes you have to, you know, get a little discipline in your life. That's the problem with people in America today. They've got no discipline. And I'm just trying to be the change I hope to see in the world. So if what it takes is me having a stern conversation with this person's mother and telling her not to give him extra nuggies, he doesn't deserve it, it is what it is, man. I don't know what to tell you. Don't make fun of the motherfucker on the screen, okay? This dude is yoked. I don't know why you would make fun of this frog. He's huge. This is a brick shithouse. No reason to make fun of him. This stream is a good example of why people should not have the right to vote. You're against the right to vote. You are literally a cuckold. Electoralism is not nearly enough, and I believe we should have greater democracy in this country. But you're even against that, and you're calling me a cuck. Okay, buddy. Actually, I'm against even the modicum, the semblance of say that I have in the country. Because somehow having say in the country I live in is cuckoldry. Sure thing, man. Limited government, but authoritarian. Literally every small government right-winger is just a fascist. That's it. They are literally just standard conservative Republicans, but they like the ability to smoke weed. That's literally it. They want to be able to control the lives of everybody else, but they're too pussy to just admit it. Do you even know what fascism is? Do you know what communism is, brother? Fascism is polygenetic ultranationalism. It is an authoritarian, violent political ideology that utilizes a mythologized past in order to gain power, and then utilizes said power in order to oppress the undesirables, quote unquote, that fascist government has decided are the said undesirables. For historical references, look at Hitler's Nazi Germany. Look at Stalin's USSR. Look at Benito Mussolini's Italy. Like I say, like mental incontinence. Your brain is leaking out of your ears, man. You gotta do some mental Kegels or something, because you can't keep that shit in. Actually, fascism isn't polygenetic ultranationalism, or anything that the streamer said. It's actually when the government utilizes the tax revenues and subsidizes free healthcare for the people that pay into the system. Okay, dude. I hope one day, when you get into 9th grade, you'll be able to figure this shit out. But I do not have hope. 9th grade's gonna be rough. Unfortunately so. Communism and fascism have a lot in common. They don't, but also, I'm not a communist. I don't know why you're hyper-focused on this. Like, I don't know why you so badly want me to be a communist, but I'm not, man. I don't know what to tell you. Are the communists in the room with us right now? This person has no idea what fascism is? Yeah, which is why he's so susceptible to it. It's hard to fight back against the thing if you don't even understand what you're trying to fight back against. This person claims to be for small government. Lamau. Like, this dude is thoroughly suckling on the boot of corporations. Be like me, chat. Where this guy's mother is thoroughly suckling on my dick. Infinitely better position to be in. Congratulations, man. You're doing the bare minimum. Nobody cares about your virtue signaling, man. Ooh, I don't care about gay people and the government should not fuck with them. Nobody cares about your virtue signaling. Require action instead. Anyway, are we all bored now? I'm bored of this person. I'm just asking if other people in the chat want to keep him around as a pet. Or what? Have been? Joe Biden. This video is kind of calling us another 2-pack of sass. Viathan and Mzias Rocket. Thanks so much, both of you, for the support. It is currently 3:30 a.m. At the time of filming, and I'm tired. If you'd like to do this kind of call, I could be fucking follow me on Twitter at ConnorCC. Retweet my video links when they go live. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Put all notifications on and hit the bell. Leave a like if it like. Comment something roasting the chatter that we were talking to the entire video, but be creative with it. Have a good day.